Jason had been delivering food around Chicago for almost 2 years. He worked late nights because the pay was usually better, and most deliveries were quick and easy. Over time, he had seen plenty of strange things. People answering doors in costumes. Customers giving bizarre delivery instructions. Even a few creepy houses that looked straight out of horror movies. But nothing prepared him for what happened on a rainy Thursday night in October. The night started normally enough. Around Shenshifin, Jason was finishing his shift when a new order appeared on his phone. The order was unusual. 1 cheeseburger, nothing else. No fries, no drink, no dessert. The customer's name immediately caught his attention. Help! Jason frowned. It was probably some teenager trying to be funny. He accepted the order anyway. 20 minutes later, he picked up the food and began driving toward the destination. As he left the city, the streets became quieter. The houses grew farther apart. Rain tapped steadily against his windshield. The GPS eventually guided him into a neighborhood he had never visited before. The road ended in a dead-end street surrounded by old trees. At the very end stood a large 2-story house. Something felt wrong the moment he saw it. The house was completely dark. No porch light. No lights in any windows. No cars parked outside. No sounds coming from inside. It looked abandoned. Jason checked the app. The address matched. Then he noticed the delivery instructions. Leave at back door. He sighed. Nobody liked backdoor deliveries, especially at night. Still, it was part of the job. Grabbing the paper bag, he stepped out into the cold rain. The air felt strangely quiet. Even the usual sounds of insects and distant traffic seemed absent. Using his phone flashlight, he walked around the side of the house. The backyard was overgrown with weeds. Broken branches littered the ground. As he approached the back entrance, his flashlight beam landed on something scratched into the wooden door. At first, he thought it was graffiti. Then he got closer. The message had been carved directly into the wood. "You don't knock." Jason stared at the words. A strange feeling settled in his stomach. Who would carve that into their own door? For a moment, he considered leaving, but he was already there. He placed the cheeseburger on the ground, quickly snapped the delivery photo, and turned to leave. His phone vibrated. A message from the customer. Jason stopped walking. The message contained only 6 words. "He's watching from the upstairs window." His heart skipped a beat. Slowly, very slowly, he looked up. A pale face stood behind a second-floor window. The figure didn't move, didn't blink, didn't wave. It simply stared directly at him. Jason froze. The face looked almost unnatural. Its skin appeared white as paper. Its eyes seemed impossibly dark. Rain dripped down his forehead as he stood there, unable to move. Then survival instincts finally kicked in. He turned and sprinted toward his car. His shoes slipped on the wet grass. He nearly fell twice. The entire time, he felt as though the figure was watching him. When he reached his vehicle, he locked the doors immediately. His hands shook as he started the engine. Without looking back, he sped away. Several blocks later, he finally pulled over. His breathing was out of control. He checked the customer chat again. The message was gone. Completely gone. Jason told himself there had to be a logical explanation. Maybe someone was playing a prank. Maybe the house wasn't abandoned after all. Eventually, he convinced himself to forget about it. But he couldn't. The image of that face stayed in his mind. The next morning, curiosity got the better of him. He opened his laptop and searched the address. What he found made his blood run cold. According to public records, the property had been abandoned for more than 8 years. No one officially lived there. Even stranger, local news articles mentioned a tragedy, a murder-suicide. 3 people had died inside the house: a father, a mother, and their teenage son. The incident had happened exactly 8 years earlier. Since then, the property had remained empty. Jason sat staring at the screen. That couldn't be possible. Someone had clearly sent that order. Someone had messaged him. Someone had been standing in the upstairs window. Trying to calm himself, he opened the delivery app. The order was still listed in his delivery history. Customer name, help, time, Shumwar Eden Sencha Efin. Status, delivered. Relieved, Jason thought he had finally found proof. He tapped the order details. Instantly, something strange happened. The screen refreshed. The address disappeared. The customer name disappeared. The receipt disappeared. The order now showed only one sentence: delivery completed. Nothing else. No address. No customer. No details. Jason refreshed the page. Still, nothing. He contacted customer support. After several minutes, the representative replied, "We have no record of that order." Jason felt a wave of panic. "What do you mean?" "I delivered it last night." The representative repeated the same answer. "There is no record of such an order in our system." That night, Jason couldn't sleep. Around 2 a.m., he decided to check the delivery photo stored in his phone gallery. Maybe there was something he missed. He opened the image. The cheeseburger bag sat beside the back door, exactly as he remembered. The carved warning was clearly visible. Don't knock." Then he noticed something else. Something hidden in the upstairs window. A face. The same pale face. Standing perfectly still. Watching him, Jason zoomed in. The image became blurry, but he could still make out the eyes. And that's when he realized something terrifying. The face wasn't looking at the camera. It wasn't looking at the door. It wasn't looking outside. It was staring directly at him, as if it knew he would eventually open that photo, as if it knew he was watching. The next morning, the image had vanished from his phone. And Jason never accepted another late-night delivery again. Mark Evans had been delivering packages across rural Pennsylvania. For almost 5 years, he had driven through blizzards, thunderstorms, and roads so isolated that GPS barely recognized them. Most routes were routine: drop the package, take the photo, move on. But there was one route every driver avoided. A road called Black Pine Lane. The road cut through miles of dense forest. No streetlights, No nearby houses, just endless pine trees and silence. Drivers joked that the place felt haunted. Mark never believed ghost stories. To him, it was just another road. Until one winter evening, the shift had nearly ended. Snow was falling heavily outside the warehouse. Mark was loading the final packages into his van when his dispatcher, Lisa, handed him a small cardboard box. "Last one," she said. Mark looked at the label, Black Pine Lane. He groaned. "You're kidding." Lisa shrugged. "Everyone else refused it." Mark laughed. "Fine. 20 minutes and I'm going home." The package felt unusually cold, almost frozen, even though it had been sitting inside the heated warehouse all day. Mark rubbed his hands together and carried it to the van. For some reason, he felt uneasy the moment he touched it, but he ignored the feeling. Outside, the storm was getting worse. Snowflakes swirled through the headlights as he drove deeper into the countryside. The farther he went, the fewer signs of civilization remained. Soon, there were no houses, no gas stations, no passing cars, only darkness and trees, endless trees. The GPS finally announced, "Turn left onto Black Pine Lane." Mark slowed down. The road was narrow and covered in fresh snow. Branches leaned over it like giant claws. His headlights barely pierced the darkness. He checked the package label again. Cabin City, Black Pine Lane. Everything looked normal. Still, he couldn't shake the strange feeling growing in his stomach. 5 minutes later, he spotted the cabin, a small wooden structure hidden among the trees. The place looked abandoned. No lights, no smoke from the chimney, no vehicle outside. What caught Mark's attention immediately was the snow. It was completely untouched. No footprints, no tire tracks, nothing. It looked as if nobody had visited the cabin for weeks, maybe months. He sat in the van for a moment. Something felt wrong, very wrong. But company policy was clear. Deliver the package. Take the photo. Leave. Mark grabbed the box and walked toward the porch. The snow crunched beneath his boots. The air felt unnaturally cold. The woods around him were silent. Not a single bird. Not even the wind. He reached the front door and knocked. Nothing. He knocked. Again. Still, no answer. "Package delivery," he called. Silence. After waiting another minute, he placed the box beside the door, took a picture, turned around. Then he heard something, a faint sound, like someone whispering inside the cabin. Mark froze. The whisper stopped. He stared at the dark windows. Nothing moved. He quickly returned to the van. As soon as he closed the door, relief washed over him. "Creepy place," he muttered. He started driving back down the road. About halfway to the highway, his phone rang. It was Lisa. "Hey," Mark answered. "Where are you?" "Heading back." "Did you finish Black Pine Lane?" "Yeah." There was a pause. A long pause. Then Lisa spoke again. Her voice sounded different, nervous. "Mark, which address?" "Cabin City." The line went silent. Mark frowned. "Lisa." "Mark," she whispered, "you need to tell me exactly what happened." "What are you talking about?" "The package." "What about it?" Lisa took a shaky breath. "That package wasn't supposed to be delivered." Mark laughed. "Very funny. I'm serious." Something in her voice made his smile disappear. "The customer died 3 weeks ago." The van suddenly felt colder. "What?" The owner of Cabin 17 was an elderly woman named Eleanor Graves. Mark stared at the snowy road. "She passed away 23 days ago." "That can't be right." "There's more." Lisa sounded terrified. "That package was reported missing from the warehouse this morning." Mark tightened his grip on the steering wheel. "What do you mean missing?" "It vanished from storage. Nobody scanned it out. Nobody loaded it. We were actually looking for it when you left." Mark felt his heartbeat quicken. "Lisa, I physically delivered it." "No, Mark." Her voice cracked. "You couldn't have." At that exact moment, something made Mark glance into the rearview mirror. His blood turned to ice. Someone was sitting in the back seat. A thin old woman, covered in snow. Her pale skin looked frozen. Ice crystals clung to her gray hair, and she was smiling. Not a friendly smile. A wide, unnatural smile stretching across her face. Mark screamed. The van swerved. He slammed on the brakes. The tires skidded across the icy road. The vehicle spun sideways and stopped. Silence. Heavy breathing filled the cabin. Mark slowly turned around. The seat was empty. Nobody was there. His hands shook violently. "Mark!" Lisa shouted through the phone. "What's happening?" "I saw her." "Who?" "The woman." "What woman?" "The dead woman." Mark jumped out of the van. Snow blasted against his face. He opened the cargo doors. Every package was neatly stacked inside, including the small cardboard box. The exact box he had left at the cabin. It sat on top of the pile, covered in fresh snow, as if it had never left. Mark stumbled backward. "No!" His phone slipped from his hand. Then he noticed something. The package label had changed. The delivery address was gone. Only one line remained. A handwritten message. "Special delivery for Mark Evans." His heart nearly stopped. Slowly, very slowly, the box began to move. Something inside scratched against the cardboard. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Then a voice emerged from within. Weak, cold, whispering, "Thank you for bringing me home." The box suddenly burst open, and from the darkness inside, a pale hand reached out toward him. The last transmission from Mark's phone was a single scream. Police found his delivery van the next morning. Engine still running, cargo doors open. But Mark was gone. The package was gone too. To this day, Black Pine Lane remains on maps. But no delivery company will send drivers there after dark, because every winter, a mysterious package appears in the warehouse, addressed to Cabin City, and somehow, it always finds a driver.